Going to Psalms, the 44th chapter, verse 3. I'm going to start up. It reads, Psalms 44 went to the chief musician for the sons of Korah, Mashkel. We have heard with our ears, O the Most High, our fathers have told us, what work thou didst in their days, in the times of old. And this goes according to former deliverances and present troubles. How thou didst drive out the heathen with thy hand, and plantedst them. How thou didst afflict the people and cast them out. For they got not the land in possession by their own sword. Okay, this is going back to this is going back to the Israelites. Okay, that they is referring to the Israelites. Okay, got not the land, which referring to what? Jerusalem. Okay, and the surrounding area, so the basic land of Canaan, in possession by their own sword. So they ain't doing it by their own sword. They ain't doing it by their own might. Okay, or strength. Neither did their own self save them. Yeah, basically did their own arm save them, was going back to their strength. Okay, or their might. But that right hand, which referring to what? Yahawah. Okay, YAHAWASHI, YAHAWASHI. All right, and thy arm and the light of thy countenance. Okay. The Lord, because the way the Lord blessed, He told Abraham that He was gonna bless. He gonna give his seed, right, a land, right. Going back to Abraham, Isaac, Jacob, right? They were all blessed, to be given a land. Okay, to forever rule over, right. Now, what the thing about it is that the land that has been ruled now by the wicked, right? It's not being ruled by the Israelite. Okay. So ultimately, the land that the nation Israel is promised to rule over for eternity, right, and possess, right, is New Jerusalem. Okay. But the it's in the second. It's the kingdom. It's a kingdom of heaven. Okay. When heaven is gonna be on earth, right? Then that's when we're gonna really rule, right, and permanently rule, right? But going back to Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, yeah, the Lord did. He blessed Israel with his current Jerusalem, right? Land. Okay, most fertile land on the earth, right? Because I have a favor unto them. Okay, because what the Israelite is the chosen nation of the Lord. Okay, and that pit, Jerusalem, is the chosen pit of the Lord. Okay, for His chosen nation to rule in. I'm gonna see if I can get some cross references real quick. Deuteronomy 4:37 reads, because He loved thy fathers, therefore He chose their seed after them, and brought thee out in His sight with His mighty power out of Egypt. As Yahawah shall delivering the Israelites out of Egypt. Okay, parting the Red Sea, etc. To drive out nations from before the greater and to drive out nations from before thee greater and mightier than thou art, to bring thee in, to give thee their land for inheritance as this day, right? That land that's currently being possessed by the wicked, right? The Amalekites, the Edomites, right? It's not their inheritance, it's the inheritance of the Israelites. And we're going to gain that inheritance back in the kingdom of heaven. Okay, in the second world, so to speak. When I mean by second, well, the second Earth, so to speak, right? Because when Earth get, because this Earth is gonna get, we're gonna be living on the same Earth, right? But it's gonna just the second Earth is gonna be renewed, right? Change, right? The Earth that we know is not gonna be the same. Deuteronomy 27 says, "The Lord YAHAWASHI did not set His love upon you, nor choose you, because you are more numbers than any people, for you are the fewest of all people." Right. So this is about how, you know, um, this is to go back to when there was only 12, right? 12 tribes, but really, this goes going to how, we weren't, the Israelites were not, you know, yes, we had, children, etc., right? You know, bearing seeds and etc. We weren't, the heathens, okay, there weren't many right. It's like was unrighteous, okay, you know, people on earth. You have your heathen, and especially by the numerous. They're heathen. They're pretty large. Okay, you know, but because the Lord loves you, and because He will keep the oath which He has sworn to your father, has the Lord brought you out with a mighty hand and redeemed you out of the house of the bondman, from the hand of Pharaoh, king of Egypt. All right, the oath that He made to sworn to your fathers, right, which go back to Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. See something. That's going back to our Joshua as well. Well, the Lord, not going back to Joshua, but the Lord made a promise, basically. It was like going back to the Lord made a promise with Abraham, Isaac, Jacob, that He would give them a land. So I'm going to close everybody with all their praises to Yahawah.